Hello, I'm Cammy G, and welcome back to our Canny Valley AFK Endurance build videos. So now we are on the southeast amplifier over here, which I believe should everybody have? That's asked as a question. I believe everybody should have this amplifier. There used to be a spawn over that direction, but they got rid of that a while ago. So we've just got the south and the east, and I'm going to start with the south up here. So this one's a bit weird because usually the spawns are right behind where the amplifier is, if there is one. But the spawn's actually really far back. They spawn on this raised bit, really far across. So we're going to do similar to what we did on Amplifier B, which is the northwest amplifier, where we had that spawn up there. We're going to split them into two routes, either side of this amplifier here, and then take them basically just straight to the amplifier on these paths. You know, there'll be plenty of room to do huge damage to them as we come down on both of these tracks. And then it allows us to block either side and force the enemies to take the path we want them to take. So if we block the front of the tunnels like this, these can be low walls to get some dynamo damage. And then if we put that, but also if we get a floor edited underneath, we can get even more resistance. Now the one in front of the amplifier here, there's not too much we can do, sadly. But if I just place this one down. In fact, we can make this one a straight one like that. And similarly at this side. What we can do is we can build a blockade in front of it like this. And if you want to as well, you can go as far as putting a cone there with an edited floor, just to really stop enemies from wanting to break through that middle bit, just because of the amplifier being there. Now it's getting close to the spawn, so this front stuff may break, but we'll be adding more blockade behind it, so don't worry about that. Now for this one here, you can see that there's no place to place a full wall behind. So we'll do two full walls here and we'll do broadsides. And then from after that, we will carry on the low wall usual stuff all the way to the end on both sides. Like this. Now, if you'd rather just do broadsides the entire way down, that's, you know, and have closed walls to save structures, feel free to do that. You know, it's a perfectly valid strategy. But we're going to do this. And then similarly at this side, going to get those low walls all the way down on both sides. Like this. And then this one will be a full wall. So we'll make that one a full wall as well to get those broadsides bouncing back and forward. Now, as I say, on the other side, you can make more of these full walls if you want. That's definitely valid. That's up to you, but we're going to carry on the full walls and do wall darts and dynamos. Now for this middle bit, as I said before, we want to block this. So we're just going to add our low walls as we do with previous iterations of this. Now at this point it's not overly important. I'd just carry the low walls on from here like this, and then when you get to this point, this is the start of the tunnel, so we'll want to block this area like this. Now because enemies can obviously spawn up the top here and walk down, we probably want to block this like this instead. And this crater moves out of the way. We'll just sort of do this like that. And this will stop any enemies from being able to get through. And then what we do behind it is we'll just have our edited cones with the grid method behind. Like so. Making sure you get every every nook and cranny filled in here. Now for this one, we can just place a floor so that it has added resistance. Doesn't really matter which way around the cone goes on that one, to be honest. I appreciate this is a lot of block off, but again, it is a wide spawn, so we need to just make sure that enemies are not going to come through. So, yeah, it's quite a lot, as I say, but it will then stop the enemies from wanting to break through. Now, this little corner here, you could add another one, but just bear in mind that we want to make sure not enemies come up the bottom there, so we'll just put a wall as extra deterrent. And then outside here, just add this block off like that. This can be a full wall. Doesn't necessarily need to be a low wall. You know, it's not really that important. Then here we want to add that block off, but we also want to have another floor here because this is a location where we've had less. You know, we can't have one here. And then behind the center of it, this is where we want to, you know, either do floors or you can just do cones all the way down. But if you do see resistance at the front middle, all you need to do is just add some floors under these, but I think you should be fine without it. And then we'll add these down to here. And the same here. Then to mirror that side, we will do this. We're placing a ceiling by accident. And then this is where we started the tunnels at that side, so we can do the same here. Now, there will be spawns up here. So these guys will probably want to either come down this route or down here and then get to the amplifier this way. Now, in the past, I have built a tunnel here as well, but that then, on top of the two up here, you know, it becomes a lot. So, oops. Just want to add another cone here, though. Like that. Just want to make sure we get it all consistent. Just interrupt myself mid-thought. Like that. And then you shouldn't need any more behind this. But yeah, we need to block off this to stop enemies from wanting to come this way. Now, you probably want to put one here as well. Like that. And if you do see, you know, stuff breaking at the front, add more back here, but I don't think you'd need it. And then we need to block off this as well. And this bit round here as well. So the enemies that do spawn around this area, we want them to, you know, they can come down here, but they'll hopefully come up this ramp and then go down the tunnel. So we just need to stop them from wanting to come this way. Now, there is this ramp here as well. So all we can do here is just extend the wall that we have on the other one. Like that. And all the way across here. Like so. And at this point, you know, they could go down there and go wherever. So we'll just add that as well. There is these paths, and there's so many different ways enemies could come round. So it's just being sensible about it and going up to any path you see that they can come round. So for example, down here, you know, they could then come down here and go up there or whatever. But at this point, if they come here, don't worry about it, because we're going to have trap tunnels here for the other direction, and this is blocked. And we'll just add some traps here if enemies did try come up that tunnel. So that should be enough. But as I say, if you do see stuff try to break through there, just add more block-offs behind this. But as I say, the only place they're going to want to come through is like here or up this ramp. So you can just add a block-off on this ramp and some here if you do see them trying to break through. But for that, now we can add some ceilings to this. So what we're going to do is have a 2 high ceiling here. or even, yeah, we'll do 2 high. Reason being is that we will then have ceiling electric fields zap into the center. So it doesn't matter too much where you start the ceilings from. But generally, I like to bring it up here, where the spawn is. And then from here, we can cover the spawns. So as I said, there is a bit on the top up here. So we'll just cover that. And then we're just going to take this all the way across. Bearing in mind that we do have this blocked, so there's not a whole lot of need for it to be covered by traps. And then go up to the block-offs here. Now you can go another one, and you can also raise it up even higher at the spawn area. So you can go up to 3 tiles. So if I just do this, oh, if I can get back up. So for the spawn traps, we will go an extra tile higher, but for the actual trap tunnels, we will be 2 blocks up. The reason being is that we will be using ceiling electric fields, which only zap down 2 tiles for the trap tunnels. But for the spawn, we'll be using tire drop traps, which go 3 tiles. So that's the reason for that. Now, we just keep consistent with that side. We can start this here. And come in across this like so. All the way to the end. Now, there is obviously this area that enemy can flank round. So just bear in mind that round this cliff, there's probably a little route that enemies can take. So they could go down this bottom track and come up that ramp. They could come across this middle track. Either way, they'd be able to get to the objective. So if we just do this here, that will block the top track. And then for the bottom track, it's up to you how you want to block it and where you want to block it. You can just do that. The only negative of doing that is you can't put a healing wall on it. So if you come down here, you can do it from here. If I just get rid of this rock real quick. Get rid of my boy Dwayne. And then a ceiling trap just to do a bit more damage if you need to. But yeah, that'll stop any enemies from being able to get round this way. It saves us having to put, loads of walls around this area. We shouldn't, need to do that with that blockade. Perfect. So now all there is to do, really, is get some spawn traps. So if we take this 1 tile higher, this will act as a lobber shield as well. But if you want to come this far and get these, just don't bother covering those center ones, but you can cover in front of them. That's definitely important to do. And then go all the way up to the block-offs and just cover round those. Now you can go another tile back if you want. If you really want to hit them when they spawn. But they're going to walk into these traps either way, so it's not overly important. And for the enemies that might want to break through these blockades, you can continue the ceiling round and basically just track the edge of it, like this, and get tire drop traps on those. It's a bit over the top. We will have wall spikes on them, and you can put other traps, so you could have like wall darts here shooting at the enemies if they did try to get in them. There's a few ways you can do it. Feel free to add those as well if you want. So just like these, cover that area, that area, that area, and then if we put a wall darts there, that'll cover this track. So that's all covered. And then all we need to do now is just the end of the tunnel. So at the moment, they're going to drop down here and then go to the objective, which is fine. That's what we want them to do. You can add side stuff here, like this, and a ceiling there. Enemies will drop here, and it's only really going to be smashers. So from here, you can probably get away with 0 build. Like, we're going to have a bait and switch if we want, you know, to deal with the smashers. So if you want to do less damage in this area, don't build anything, basically. But if you want to add anything, obviously feel free to copy what I'm doing. And it's not necessary to build a chute down here, and we can't, you know, have a proper floor at the bottom. What you can do if you want, though, is build like a artificial platform for them to go on, and then, you know, bring them out again. As I say, it's up to you how you want to go about it. Now, I'm just gonna get rid of this. Now, for the bait and switch, we can take them over this low area down here. I'm just appreciative that we have an amplifier down there, but this ramp here we can use to let the smashers come back up. But when we build the east direction, we're going to be blocking this ramp off because we don't want enemies to come through. But at the same time, we will be blocking this tunnel. So if you do need a bait and switch, what we can do is from the center of the amplifier here, if we bring them out, and then if we turn them to the side and then turn them again up here, we can then bring them like this. And then from here, we'll just go straight to the corner of the amplifier. Now the wall lights will be on this wall here, which will knock them down all the way down there. And then up here, we'll have a second one, just in case there's a lot of them, and they'll get knocked down into this area. And then they'll have quite a far way to, you know, to get back up. Then for the actual build of the bait, so if you don't know what this is, it's basically just a structure around the amplifier that makes the smashers think we're defending it, stop, you know, husks from being able to get in there. Obviously, we know this does nothing. They can just walk into the amplifier, but it tricks the smasher AI, and if they ever change this, God knows what we'll do in Twine, but, you know, to get these pillars on where the floors are, and then arches all the way around, that is your bait. So, yeah, you can add more structural support to this ladder. So if you place one here, this wall would stay here on its own. Try to find another staircase where that's applicable. So, like there, for example, it's the same situation. So if that floor gets broken, for example, the whole thing stays up. So for this back here, I think what ended up happening was the spawn sort of broke this wall, and I think potentially the floor as well. I'm not sure if the enemies broke the floor or the spawn broke the floor. It's worth keeping them both in as they were, with, you know, wall spikes on. If it doesn't get broken by the spawn, it might not do on some runs, you know, because the spawns are a bit random where they place themselves. But all you need to do is just add some more blockade here at the back, like this. And what I do is also just block the top of this ramp. Now you can add more if you need to, but this is the only place I saw them break out. And once I added this midway through the Endurance, which was made out of regular metal, I didn't level it up, that stopped the enemies from breaking out, so I think that should be plenty enough. But obviously if you need more, add more. But yeah, that's your structures. Now, the only thing to mention before we get to the traps is if you are seeing lobbers being able to target the amplifier from anywhere. Now, we're very far away, but for example, from here, they might be able to. So all we want to do is just put these like that. And the only other place I can think they might be able to target the amplifier is over here by these block-offs. So what you can do is if you extend this ceiling here and just basically stencil the block-offs we've made like that. And then we can put tire drop traps on these as well. So one, it acts as a lobber shield, and two, that's too high up actually. Just realised we'll have to drop it down one. So right here. In fact, we can drop it here. Do that. And then from here, same thing. Cover that. And yeah, we can put tire drop traps on these. Now there is the gap here, which if enemies were stood here, they could probably target the amplifier. So just block this. I don't think they'll be able to target it from here. so don't be worried about that. Oops. This is all pretty, over the top stuff, just to make sure we don't get any unwanted issues, And you can also sort of connect these ceilings to the chutes we made, just to give it extra support. But yeah, I appreciate it's a lot for this one. This is probably the most we built on any of the amplifiers in Canny. Now, you could try get one tunnel, down some sort of central path and block off either side, but I think you're going to come into a lot of issues with enemies breaking out the side of it if you try that. So yeah, we'll go with this, and yeah, once you've leveled this stuff up, which is going to take a lot of metal, I appreciate that, come back and I'll show you the trap placement. So I'll see you shortly.
If you're enjoying the video so far, thank you so much for watching, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our members. Thank you so much to the current members we have, and just wanted to go over the tiers to anyone else that might be interested. So we have 5 tiers from Stonewood, Plankton, Canny, Twine, all the way up to Epic Founder, and as you can see on screen, we have these amazing benefits at each tier, getting more and more as you go up. So yeah, if anyone's interested, just look for the join button next to the subscribe button, and thank you so much for your time. Cheers, enjoy the rest of the video.
Wow, that was a lot of metal to level that stuff up. I just wanted to call this out that I've realised with this blockade here, the enemies could just drop down here and then come up the ramp. So this one down here, we want to move up here and block. We just, oops, might be metal. If we block the ramp like that, you can put one on the side as well, just to make sure they don't glitch through, but we can do the same sort of thing here, and yeah, that acts as the same. I think we can place traps while we're here, actually, so let's go ahead and put wall spikes here. I'm going to have to craft some more again, because, like I said, I don't really use wall spikes too much in this area. Ceiling electric field on the side, on the ceiling even. It is a ceiling trap, it is in the name. But yeah, I appreciate that's taken a lot of material. I think it's probably like 4 stacks of metal. And God, I haven't finished upgrading this stuff. There's always something I miss. So yeah, I appreciate it's a lot. You could probably strip back on some of the block offs here. Like, this is quite out of the way. These back pods here, you could probably get rid of. That corner one there as well, you could probably get rid of. And I appreciate this is a lot. Now, the 2 tunnels, as I said when building them, you can make them smaller if you want. So if you just have these as full walls all the way down and do broadsides, you'll save on these back ones. You can probably get rid of these blockades in the middle. And then the ceilings, if you want, just have tire drop trap down the middle, or even just have the ceiling flat here and do like gas with ceiling zappers towards the end. Feel free to do that. I have the infinite mat grinder, which, if you don't know about that, check out the video for that. It's linked in the description. But, I can get access to infinite metal very easily, so I might as well build crazy like this. But yeah, for the actual traps, what we're going to do is wooden floor spikes, and then we will do some freeze. And then we'll do 2 retractable, and then a tar pit at the end. Then if I go in this one, we'll do the same sort of thing. So tar pit, 2 retractable, and I'll just do 1 freeze, because this one is shorter than the other one. Make sure you're facing that way when you place the freeze, and then retractable floor spikes. Now, on the walls, obviously on all the low walls, we want wall dynamos. So if you get these placed on all of these, then on the far walls we want wall darts to shoot into the tunnels like that. Now, when I come to do my alt account in Canny, I'll probably redo these videos and, really test a more smaller design, broadsides on these two. But for the time being, we're going to stick with these. Now, we want wall darts on this back wall to shoot enemies as they come down the path, and then dynamos at the side to damage them as they fall down. Zap trap there, ceiling zapper even, I always call it the wrong thing. Tire traps all the way down here. Make sure you're facing the amplifier when you place them, as that will make the enemies stumble back into spawn. And then if we get them on all these as well. So I'll probably fast forward this, but pretty much just look at the amplifier while you place these ones. Apart from the ones over the blockades, just face the blockade when you place them, as it will knock them away from the blockade. And then just at the end here, we want a ceiling electric field above that, because no enemies are going to go on top of that, so tire traps wouldn't do anything. Now for this bit here, I appreciate you can probably get rid of this stuff, like it's probably not necessary, and it might get destroyed by spawns and whatnot anyway. And then on these walls, I'm just going to have to craft some more again. Get too many of these bad boys going. But yeah, I'll let you know if you need to put this back in for if you get issues, from enemies trying to break through. At the sides, I'd do it as well, and then you could put some here. I'm not sure you'd need it though, and you could put some down here, but we're going to have traps above, so I don't think you'd need, I'd maybe just go for this one at the side, because this is the more direct path. And then like here, for example, you could put a wall darts to shoot any enemies that are trying to break through. And then the traps up here, we can do some electric field on these ones. And then for these ones, some tire drop traps. Lovely stuff. I'd put a tire drop trap there as well, just to knock anything that does try break through there. Then over here, I would just do wall spikes on these two. If you do see resistance on these, obviously add wall spikes. I think maybe these two will be the ones, just because we have less built here. But the rest should be fine, so just go for these wall darts, which should shoot anything that tries to break through any of those. And we've got the drop traps above anyway, so that will do plenty there. And then at the sides here, we want ceiling electric field. As I say, if you need structures back, or you want to save on traps and stuff, just do a single ceiling and do it low, and do, gas or whatever you would prefer. Now we're just going to repeat the same sort of traps down here as we did at the other side. So dynamos on the low walls, then behind the dynamos, and at the end of the tunnel here, we'll do wall darts. So we'll have these shooting in. All of these. Like that. These two at the end, I mean, you could just do broadsides instead, it's a bit extra. But, it's up to you. Now for the center, we want our tire drop traps again. So all the way down. This will stumble the enemies. And then at the side, once again, as well as at the top of there, we'll do ceiling electric field to zap all of the enemies. If this was Plankerton, we could easily build less, but because it's Canny, we're getting to that sort of level where, the endurance... I missed one wall. We get to the sort of level where enemies get to high enough power level where they can do some real damage if you're not careful with them. Now down here, I'd probably just go for like a retractable, and then some broadsides at the sides. Not going to bother with that wall, to be honest. Probably not needed. This is just for mini-bosses and smashers, just to give a bit of extra damage at the end. And then we have the bait and switch for them anyway. So, yeah, that should be everything, I believe. Apologies for such a ridiculously over-the-top build for this. I try my best. I'll be, testing and trying to readjust this one, because this is way more than we ever built in Twine, I think. So, yeah, I appreciate you making it all the way through. Hopefully you aren't too angry with me for using so many structures. But please do let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Leave a like if you did enjoy, found it useful, and obviously subscribe, as always, to see future Trap Tunnel videos. But thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully.